Alrighty, hello lovely year nines. Today we're looking at changing the subject of a formula. So basically, sometimes what we're trying to find isn't the subject, and so we're going to look at how we can basically change the values around in the formula to get what we're after. And there's two methods for doing this. One, we can either just rearrange the formula straight up, or we can do what we did in the previous section where we substitute the values into the formula and then solve for the unknown. So I'll show you both ways of doing it with this example down here. So we've got here the cost of hiring Scott's car is given by the formula C is equal to a quarter X plus 40, where X is the number of kilometres driven. Find the number of kilometres driven by a person who is charged $130 for hiring the car. All right, so let's do it like what we did in the previous lesson, where so first I'm just going to write out the formula. So C is equal to a quarter X plus 40. And we want to find out pretty much X if C is 130. So let's put in 130 is equal to a quarter X plus 40. So what I want to do is, I want to subtract 40 from both sides. So I'm going to get 90 is equal to a quarter X. Now, to get rid of a quarter is essentially dividing by 4. So I want to times both sides by 4. So if I do 4 nines are 36, so that'll be 360 is equal to X. So basically, the person will drive 360 kilometers and they'll be charged $130 for hiring the car. Bit of a rip-off, if you ask me. Alrighty, so let's look at a second method. So what we can do is we can essentially just rearrange that formula first up, and then we can substitute in the C is equal to 130, and then we should be able to get 360 at the end. So this is what we want to do. C is equal to a quarter X plus 40. Okay. So basically, I want to make X the subject here. So first, I'm going to take 40 from both sides. So I'm going to get C take 40 is equal to a quarter X. Okay, so I've done that. And then in the next step, what I want to do is I want to get rid of the quarter in front of the X. I want to times both sides by 4. So if I do that, I've got to do 4 lots of all of the C take 40. So I'm going to put brackets around that, and that is equal to X. So I'm just going to rewrite it again, making X the subject. X is equal to 4 C take 40, like so. So what I've done is I've rearranged the formula to make X the subject. So if I substitute C is equal to 130, so I'm going to do here sub in C is equal to not 140, 130. And what are we going to get here? X is equal to 4 lots of 130 take 40. So X is equal to 4 lots of 90, which is equal to 360. Okay. So basically you can choose either method for when you're doing problems like this here, whatever you prefer. So you can either do what we did here, in the first one where we substituted in the value, then solve for the unknown, or rearrange the equation and then substitute in the value. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, but you'll get the same answer regardless. All right, let's look at a similar thing, but slightly harder equation here. So we've got the formula v squared is equal to u squared plus 2as. That is a formula used in physics. So the velocity squared is equal to the initial velocity squared plus 2 times the acceleration times the displacement. That's what that particular formula is. And we want to rearrange the formula to make S the subject. So let's write out what we've got here. I've got v squared is equal to u squared plus 2as. Okay. Now, get rid of all the loose terms first. So basically, I'm just going to highlight here that we want to make this S the subject. So firstly, I want to get rid of the loose term. Well, my loose term is the u squared. So I'm going to take u squared from both sides. Now I want to get rid of the 2a from the s. So s has been multiplied by 2a, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2a. V squared is equal to u squared divided by 2a. That's equal to s there. So there's my formula. S is equal to v squared, take u squared divided by 2a. Now, find the value of s when u is equal to 4, v is equal to 10, and a is equal to 2. So this was part A here. So for part B, I'm just going to write out my formula again. S is equal to v squared, take u squared over 2a. So let's put them in. S is equal to, so v squared, so 10 squared, take 4 squared over 2a, 2 lots of 2. So 100, take 16, all over 4. What's that going to be? 90, 84 over 4. All right, that's can just be 21. Cool. So that's that one there. And now if we do for part C, S is equal to v squared, take u squared, all over 2a. Let's put in the values. So 12 squared, take 4 squared over 2 lots of 3. So 144, take 16, all over 6. So that's going to be 134, 128, all over 6. I do that in my head. Well, is that right? I think so. 6 goes in the 120 20 times, plus, so we're going 21 and a third. We should just use a calculator. Let me just check that on my phone. 128 over 6, 21.3. Cool. Alrighty, so we got that there. Alrighty, third example here. So all it's asking us to do in this example is to just rearrange the subject for whatever the subject is indicated. So here we've got E is equal to P squared over 2M, and we want to make that M the subject now. So first I'm just going to say these aren't necessarily easy. You tend to find students in year 11 and year 12, even the ones studying methods and specialists, really do still struggle with these particular concepts. And this is sort of Australia-wide. They've done studies and they've identified that rearranging formulas is a very challenging concept for students to master. Now, you're only in year 9, so we're not expecting you to master this just yet, but have a go. Please be persistent, and if you need the help, just ask me and I'll give you a hand. Alrighty, so let's do this first one here. So I'm going to write out the formula. E is equal to P squared all over 2M. Okay, and we want to make M the subject. So M, the 2M, or that M there is a denominator, and it can't really be a subject if it's on the denominator. So what I'm going to do is first up is multiply both sides by M. So if I do that, if I multiply both sides by M, I'm going to get E multiplied by M is going to be EM is equal to P squared all over 2. And then I want to get rid of the E from that left-hand side, so I'm going to divide both sides by E. So I'm going to go M is equal to P squared over 2E, like that there. So I'll just indicate what I did. I multiplied both sides by M, and then I divided both sides by E. Okay. In our second example here, we've got T is equal to 2 pi L over G, and I want to make the L the subject. Okay. So first of all, I want to get rid of the 2 pi there. So what I'm going to do is divide both sides by 2 pi. T divided by 2 pi is equal to the square root of L over G. Okay. The reason why I divide by 2 pi is because 2 pi has been multiplied by the square root of L over G. So the opposite of multiplying is divide. Then I want to get rid of the square root. So to do that, I'm squaring both sides. So that's going to give me t squared all over 4 pi squared. You've got to square every single term. So the t squared, 2 squared is 4 pi squared is pi squared. That's going to equal to L over G. And then all I've got to do is just get rid of that G in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by G. So I'm going to get t squared multiplied by G all over 4 pi squared is equal to L. Well, there's my formula there. Let's indicate what I did for each step along the way. So what I did first up was I divided both sides by 2 pi. Then what I did was I squared everything. And then finally I multiplied by both sides by G. And then that got me my L there. Alrighty, let's have a look at part C here. So this one's a doozy. All right, so let's C, and it's that formula from before in the previous lesson. So 1 over F, I think this is a film one, 1 over U plus 1 over V. Let's check that. VFU. Oh, FV. FUV. Cool. So, and in this one here, we want to make U the subject. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 over V from both sides. Oh. Take 1 over V is equal to 1 over U. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to make so I can't simply just flip everything here. So if I was to say, well, U over 1 is equal to V over 1, F over 1, like that, that is actually incorrect, okay? You can't say that that is true, but you can flip it if you both have a single fraction on both sides. So what I actually need to do is I need to make that left-hand side a single fraction. So we do it like what we did previously, multiply those two together first, so I'll get V, take 1 times F is just F, multiply those together, F, V, okay? And that's going to equal to 1 over U, okay? And then, so essentially now I can go ahead and flip it. So now I can go, all right, well, U over 1 is going to equal to FV over V, V take F, like that there. So therefore, U is just going to equal to FV over V take F, okay? Now, you can verify your answer by substituting in some values as well. So I could put in a value for, say, for U and V, and it'll give me an answer for F. And then if I put in those same values down here, it should particularly work. I'm not going to do it here, but you can substitute in values to verify your answer. All right, that one's very challenging there, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is show what I did for each step along the way. So I subtracted 1 over V. I then went from there to there, and I made a single fraction on the left hand side. I then did the reciprocal. Pretty sure that's how you spell it, and that's it there. So actually all that was just 3 steps, but a bit trickier than how it looks there. And final example here. For part D, we've got square root of h plus c, take a, and we want to make h the subject. Whoop, I forgot to include the actual subject of that one there. So P is equal to H plus C, take A, and I want to make H the subject. So get rid of your loose terms first up. So I want to get rid of that A because it's a single term out on its own. I'm going to add A to both sides because it's a negative A. So P plus A is going to equal to the square root of H plus C. Next, what I want to do is I want to square both sides because we've got a square root of H plus C. I can't just take C away because it's with H and it's all being square rooted. So I'm going to square both sides. So if I do that, I'm going to get P plus A all squared is equal to H plus C. Do I need to expand that P plus A squared? Well, no, because that's nice and simplified in that form. And then finally, because we want to find H, so I want to subtract C from both sides. So I'm going to have P plus A all squared take C is equal to H. So then H is equal to P plus A all squared take C. I'm just going to list what I did here. And again, we just did this in 3 steps. We added A to both sides. We then squared both sides. We then subtracted, we then subtracted C from both sides, and that was that. Cool. So hopefully this makes a bit of sense for you. A few different examples there. Overall, pretty tricky concept, but have a go and see if you can have a go at some of those questions there. Thanks, guys.